right now after a big weekend for the D-backs and great show hair going on for us right now as well. I knew the guys were going to look at that right away and be like, let's go.
You didn't have to comb your hair for us?
No. I love it. Josh, how you doing? Off a big weekend. Thanks for joining us, man. What's new?
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. This is cool.
Appreciate you. Well, first off, tell me about the weekend. I know you had a good quote too. You said, I think the biggest thing is we were putting the pressure on. Felt like it was the first time I've ever played the Dodgers where it felt like they could feel the pressure. So last year, I won't go specific numbers, the Dodgers had your number. This year, is it 5-1 already, the D-backs against the Dodgers?
I believe
you won 5, right?
Yeah, 5. They won 3.
They won 3 this year already.
Right. I think so they won 2 in LA, one at home.
1 at home. Okay. So tell me what the difference is so far. You gave us that quote. What's different? Is it the way that you're approaching them? Is it the roster construction of the Diamondbacks this year?
Yeah, I think it's roster construction for sure. I mean, speed kills, and we used it to our advantage. I think the tough part in LA is we couldn't get guys on base, and you don't get on base, you can't really use your speed against them. So they came to our place. We got on base. We were putting the pressure on, stealing bases, taking extra bases, scoring on base hits. I mean, like you pointed out in that quote, it really felt like they could feel pressure, and that's really the first time I've been on the right side of that.
That's got to be a great
statistician. What do you got?
No, they're 5-3 against the Dodgers.
I can't believe they played them
8 times already. I know that is kind of crazy. Well, that's awesome. That's got to be a great feeling because you guys are a young team. So did you guys go into the season saying, "Hey, we played the Dodgers 8 times in the first 2 weeks of the season. We really have to focus on them because they've been the king of the division for the last 10 years." Did Torey Lovello come to you guys and say, "Hey, we need to focus on these games because we don't want to get too far behind or early like we have in the past"?
Yeah, I mean, even in spring training, we knew who we were opening up against. We knew we had Dodgers and Padres to start off the season, and we were kind of preparing for them all through spring training, and just, this is how we want to play. These are the things we want to do when we're on the bases. These are the things we're going to do on defense and neutralize them taking extra bases. Because they can swing it. Their offense is just so scary. They can put 3-4 runs on the board, with a couple mistakes. We knew that we were going to have to chip away. We beat them with the long ball 2 times out of those 5 wins, and the rest we were just scrappy, putting the ball in play, not striking out, being aggressive. We even against the Padres, the first and third play that we ran where, I get credited with the steal of home and it's cool and everybody thinks, oh, you stole home, that's awesome. But that was actually something we were talking about in spring training. We have 4 or 5 different variations of first and third plays, and that was just one of them. So we prepared during spring training to beat teams with aggressiveness and with speed, and it came out and it worked for us against San Diego for 1 game, and then in LA here at home.
Would you rather be 5-3 versus the Dodgers or 9-0 like the Rays versus the Detroit Tigers than some of these other teams? I think.
Oh man,
honestly,
I'd love a 9-0, but I would much rather against our division rivals and some powerhouses in the league. For sure.
If you're chopping down the Giants in your division, that gets you guys feeling good right there. I remember some of the toughest teams I played against was people who put the most pressure on the base pass, the 2015 Royals and some of these other guys where it's like, we can't let one guy on because if we do, first base already feels like second base to us. Is that what you guys got going?
Yeah, it felt, the first time I felt that was playing the Guardians last year. They don't strike out. It's like the most defeating feeling is when a team just is averaging an exit velo of 70 miles an hour and it's just hit after hit after hit. And then they get on base and it turns into a double because they steal second. Then the next guy just fillets something out there and he scores. it's like the most defeating thing. Like you start looking at each other like, why are we not in the right spots? Are we not making the right pitches? Like what's going on? Or like the look on a pitcher's face when you take a good slider just below the zone and he's just shaking his head like how did he take that? Then they make a mistake with a heater. The Guardians were like that last year, and look at the teams they're playing against. They're playing against the Yankee like power teams, and they're winning games. So I think when we got a taste of that, being on the other side of it last year, it kind of, just fueled us into like this can win games if we just buy in and do it right.
Do you think this is a sustainable model? And is this model built by Torey Lovullo? Is this model built by Dave McKay? Who's the one that's running those base running things? Because I know what Dave can do, and I don't know Torey as well, just playing against him. But who's running those models, and is this sustainable for you guys throughout the year?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's the health factor. If everybody can stay healthy and keep your legs under them. But as far as who's running it, it's a group effort. Mac has ideas. Obviously, everything runs through Torey. We have a lot of ideas offensively that, we have our hitters meetings before every game with just the hitters and the hitters coaches. And then we have our base running meeting, which is about 5 or 6 guys that, are aggressive on the bases. And we meet with Mac. And then they run all those ideas through Torey. So, if we ever have a new idea in those meetings and we tell our coaches, our hitting coaches, or Mac doing base running, and we have an idea, he'll say, all right, let me run this by Torey and get back to you. And then usually, for the most part, Torey's good with it. There's a few instances where, he'll say, all right, well, we're going to be less aggressive in these situations, or, Torey has some guidelines that he has set for Mac and Tony on the bases that, we don't know of, but, we'll say like, hey, can we run right here? And Mac's like, this is one of those red light situations. So it's not just a free for all out there. There are some guidelines and some stipulations that we got to abide by. But for the most part, Torey's, he's all in on being aggressive.
What's one thing that Mac's taught you in like that you wish you were, I don't know, maybe a freshman at Hawaii? Like, dang, how did I not know that? Because for people who don't know, Dave McKay is one of the he's like the he's the Rusty Kuntz of base running too. Rusty was the first base coach that Kip was talking about with our Royals teams that we just ran. Like it was like, I'll get you 5 bags easy this month. Like, what's the one thing that Dave McKay, because AJ is also a high school coach, he sometimes shows up, but I'm a high school coach. Like, what's the one thing where you're like, dang, I wish I knew that when I was in high school that he's taught you?
Well, I think it's how often pitchers will show you what they're going to do. It's unbelievable. Like, there's some things that Max shows us, and it's like, this guy doesn't know he does that when he's going home or when he's coming to first. Like, how does he not know that? I think that's the biggest thing. Is like, so there's so many tells that guys have. The other thing is counts that guys won't throw over or never have in their whole career thrown over in certain counts. Which obviously, in high school and college, you don't really have access to that information like we do in the big leagues. But, things that you could pick up in a regular high school or college game is like, hey, this guy points his toe, in towards the rubber when he's going home, and he leaves it a little more open when he's going to pick over. It's like little things like that Mac picks up on, and then he tells you, and then you see it, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to go. There's already been times this year where Mac's like, hey, you can get him right here. And I don't go, and he's right. It was a curveball in the dirt, and I'm like, I'm sorry, Mac. I don't want to get thrown out, and I didn't have full trust in you right there. But he's like you said, he's the base running guru, and he's got our catcher stealing bases right now.
Josh, I want to ask you about, that's a good point. I want to ask you about your rich rookie teammate, Corbin Carroll. So he's a $100 million man, and you're a young team, so you don't have many rich dudes in the clubhouse that you can kind of make fun of in a good way. You can't really do that to Bumgarner, I'm sure, for obvious reasons. He would, probably find a way to hit you in a sim game or something like that. But for Corbin, this dude is barely in the bigs. We know all the talent that he's got. Is he buying dinners anytime something comes up, or you're like, I don't know, dude, you're rich, you figure it out?
Yeah, man, we haven't gotten him to buy anything yet. I just found out. I just finally got him to tell me what his signing bonus was a couple days ago. He doesn't want to be the rich guy. You can tell he wants to just be he kind of likes being, the young rookie, the quiet guy. He's trying to play that underdog role, but it's like, hey man, you're rich. You're going to have to dish out some meals here soon. I'm sure I'm sure we'll get him soon to buy something for us.
I mean, he still rides to the park with his mom and dad.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So
he's still getting dropped off.
Josh, I saw one of your quotes before, and I think it's kind of one of my favorite parts of a player figuring it out, basically. And this is it stemmed from my whole hold it back thing, where you're like, I don't care how it works, just as long as it works. So you talked about trying to hit home runs a little bit earlier, college on up through the minors. And now you've kind of gone away from that, and you're like, I just need contact and hit it where it's pitched, and gone throughout. Tell us about that, like, kind of maturation and how you came to that conclusion, basically, where I just need to do what needs to be done.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was getting exposed at the big league level. The pitching was a whole lot different. I came up through the minor leagues just hunting fastballs and hitting mistakes. And, in the minor leagues, you get tons of mistakes. You're going to get fastballs over the plate. You take the chase spin, and you'll earn yourself a heater. And then you get to the big leagues, and you're getting 2-0 breakers, and you're getting 3-1 changeups, and it's just the heaters. Even when you get a heater, it's we just faced Dustin May the other day, and he struck me out on 3 pitches on heaters over the plate. So, it's a whole different level. It's a whole different game. The command's different. The movement's different. The pitch sequencing. So I just came up with an approach of like, okay, I have a high contact rate. I can put the ball in play. I can square it up. It's just a matter of, if I try to do too much, I'm losing the ability to make contact and put the ball in play. And I think my strength in a lineup is getting on base and then creating havoc on the bases. And, I kind of fell in love with the long ball in the minor leagues. I was hitting a ton of them. We went through that the juiced ball era a little bit in the minor leagues in 19, and homers were fun, and I kind of started to believe myself as a home run hitter, and I got to the big leagues and I got exposed a little bit and was rolling over everything and flaring stuff to left, and it kind of humbled me a little bit and brought me back to what got me drafted and what got me to the big leagues is making contact and hitting line drives.
Well, I think it's one thing to get there. It's another thing to stay there that you hear about people. This game usually always makes the adjustment to you. The people who can make the adjustment back are the ones who end up staying there in the long run.
Yeah. And I've had plenty of conversations with guys that have been around a long time, and, having Longoria now, it's awesome because, he's seen so many different eras. He came up, I think he debuted in 2008, and he was just talking to us the other day about how pitching is so much different now. Like, guys were, trying to fool you with movement and stuff. And now it's like guys are attacking you with high heaters plus velo. You've seen it. You've seen the game change over time. The pitching has become like a power. Guys aren't scared to walk you. They're just trying not to leave the ball over the plate and give up the homer. So that's where you see all this, 3-1 chase pitch, 2-0 chase pitch. You really gotta be willing to take your walks almost. Like guys are okay with walking you, and they don't want to give up the long ball.
Josh, you had a different path to the major leagues than most people. You went to JUCO, right? And then you ended up at the University of Hawaii. Do they still have the banner from the 1997 Honolulu Sharks that we won out there in the Hawaii Winter League?
I don't think so. I never saw it.
But it was the big one out there in left field. Right field still has the dorms, right, in right field, and then left field there was more of a mountain view. Yeah, I was out there in the left field because the dorms we would have covered up all the dorms in right field, so you must have missed it in left field.
Yeah, I must have. It must still be up there. You just can't see it. It's behind a couple trees or something.
I think they covered up the dorms for other reasons, but go ahead.
Explain the JUCO route, because a lot of people look and say, "Oh, I got to go to JUCO." It's not a good thing. But how do you end up from JUCO to Hawaii, and then now obviously now you're in the minor leagues or the major leagues? Excuse me.
Yeah. It was, like you said, it was when I first made the decision. It was kind of a bummer for me mentally, just because you have like the national signing days in high school, and people are signing to go here, signing to go there. And I considered myself a above average baseball player, and I thought that meant you went to Division I or you went to a university. But I was just while I was talking to schools and shopping around, I had a conversation with one of the recruiting guys at U of A, and he was like, "Yeah, you could come here. We'd love to have you. But looking at our infield, you'd be a redshirt guy, and then you could work in some playing time your sophomore year, and then your junior year or your redshirt sophomore year would be like your first real opportunity for playing time." And I had seen guys that I had played with that had already graduated go to universities and not play the first year, and then fighting for playing time. Every time they mess up, they're out of the lineup their second year. And it was just like, I can't do it. I can't sit and watch a game. I have to be in the game. It's just my mentality. I'm not a good bench guy. So I just was having conversations with different people and realized that, there's a lot of development that happens in junior college. There's no practice rules. You're out there 4 or 5 hours every day, taking ground balls, hitting, playing, fall balls like a full season. There's 35, 40 games in the fall. And I loved it. And the reason why I settled on Paradise Valley is they had a really good infield coach. They had a hitting guy that I really liked. And, it was all something new, and I felt like I could learn a lot. And I did. I think I developed, I think that was my biggest development was, my first 2 years of junior college, just really learning how to play defense for real. And, that was the first time that it wasn't just me and my dad hitting the backyard. I had, some new ideas with the hitting coach there. And he was kind of the first guy that really got me on that idea of just staying on playing with the baseball for as long as possible. It's kind of Kipnis has that same,
there you go.
level bat. That's when I first started playing with that whole idea of just like, well, if I want to be in the zone for as long as possible, why don't I just start there and keep it there the whole time? And that's when it first started, and it really worked out for me. And then from there, I got recruited to go to Hawaii, and then senior year I get drafted.
But did you just say you wanted to hit like Jason Kipnis? You still want to hit like Jason Kipnis?
I watched a lot of his videos. I'm not gonna lie.
My bad.
That's why we had you on today. Then it wasn't because of how the Diamondbacks are doing. It's because you hit like Jason Kipnis.
Yeah, we had you on to tell you to stop.
No, man. I mean, I don't got the fastest hands in the world. I don't got time for all of this extra, this hand separation and all the stuff that guys are doing nowadays. It's really cool to see, but get it in the zone, hold it there, and keep it there. And the other day it worked out. I call it the plane train. It started in Houston. We called that the plane train when you get those weak hits. Gratterall cutter in about, this far off the plate, extremely late. I think I hit it below the label, and double off the left field line chalk.
Love that.
Exit velo of 49.8.
Exit velo's overrated, dude. Exit velo's listen, I don't know if you can see this bat I have right here. Can we get a close up of this bat that I'm holding in the camera? Hold on. Do you see the bat? Do you see this right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know why I have that on all my bats when I finish my career? Because Major League Baseball got so mad at me for breaking so many, they made me tape them so they wouldn't fly in the stands and kill somebody. True story.
Really?
That's why I have tape. And pitchers used to say that's an advantage. I'm like, well, that means you're jamming the shit out of me, and I'm throwing it over the shortstop's head. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Good hitters get jammed.
Yep, that's right. Ball it just on plane, extremely late, got beat. Take it.
Hey, any way you can get on, especially, and then you said it earlier, taking your walks as an offense that has that speed, you just get on any way you can. That works.
Yeah, and it was, and the Dodgers actually weren't a good team to have that approach. They throw a lot of strikes. They're willing to come after you, but we're going to play a lot of teams throughout the year that throw a lot of chase stuff, and you take your walks when you can, get on base and create havoc from there. I think the other advantage is, with speed, is you can turn those walks into doubles. It's hard in this league to score from first base. It's hard to put together 2, 3, 4 hits in a row. So if we can get on base and get those extra bases, we did a lot in the Dodger series. Guy gets on first, steals second, another little weak hit, he scores, steals second, another little weak hit, he scores. So, I think walks are big in this game, and especially with all the power. People are getting paid for power these days, and pitchers are getting paid to not give up homers. So I think with those two things mixing, if you're patient, you'll get rewarded.
Now, is it now called the Josh Rojas for Zach Greinke trade?
I don't think so. Not yet. I don't think I want it that way. I got traded with, those are my boys that got traded with me. They've had some injuries have plagued them. Hard workers, but they keep getting hit with the injury bugs, and luckily I've stayed out of there. But those are 3 really good players that got traded with me. Beer, unbelievable hitter. Bukowskis, just the hardest working pitcher I've ever seen. Workhorse in the weight room, and just every time he comes back, gets plagued with something else, and it's sad. And then Corbin just was supposed to be one of our guys this year, and then right at the end of spring training had that injury. I think it was like his lat or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, I've been blessed to stay on the field. I've had a couple small injuries, but yeah, those were my boys that came with me in that trade.
Yeah, you're the prize though right now. That's fair. Yeah, they're with you and they still got a shot, but you're the prize of the deal right now. So keep it up, Josh. Keep it up, man. It was good to talk to you.
Yeah, this is awesome. I'm a big fan of the show. This is cool to be on.
Thank you. Yeah. Love it. Anytime, man. Keep doing your thing with Arizona. Keep shocking the world, and we'd love to have you back soon, man. And also, I know these guys are jealous of the flow. I am too. He's got way better hair than me. Look at his hair. Look at the natural hair.
It is. Yeah.
That shit's awesome.
Yours is not natural.
It's out of control right now.
I've seen you try to make it look like that.
We're all wearing hats because we're balding.
Whoa. No.
Well, what is that?
No.
Josh, you're borrowing it, man. It's not yours. You're just borrowing it, okay? Like, look at Kip. Like, man, you just borrowed it.
I'm not there.
Enjoy it. You're there, Kip. Don't.
I'm not there.
Lead him wrong.
Ride it. Josh, good luck today, man. Great
Thank
to have
you, Josh.
on. Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. Anytime.